If I looked at your Facebook profile today, what would it tell me? Hey, my lovelies. Welcome back to my weekly podcast for women in direct selling and network marketing. I am Penny Inches and I am your direct selling success coach. I'm going to start today's podcast by I'm going to start by asking a question, right? And the question is, if I looked at your Facebook profile today, what would it tell me about you? Not what you hope it says, not what you think it says. What would it actually tell me? Because here's something I think most women in direct selling and network marketing don't realize. Your Facebook profile is having conversations about you every single day, especially if you have professional mode turned on, right? Even when you're not online. Think about that for a minute. While you're making dinner, driving the kids or the grandkids somewhere, watching TV, sleeping, people are actually clicking on your profile, looking around and making little decisions about you, right? Whether you realize it or not, right? And those decisions often happen in seconds, right? You'll hear all the time me say it, all the experts say it. You've got like 3 seconds to make an impression on social media, right? So today I thought we'd actually do something a little bit different to my normal podcast episodes. And what I want you to do is imagine that I am sitting beside you. You've handed me your phone. You've opened your Facebook profile and you've said to me, Penny, be honest. What do you see? Because I honestly think this is one of the biggest missed opportunities I see. And I've actually got a workshop or a webinar training around this and more, but more about that later. You see, women spend so much time worrying about what to post when often the bigger question is, what happens after someone finds me? Now let's go back for a minute. Some of you would be familiar with my history, others you might be new here, so I'll fill you in. When I first started the direct selling business I was with back in 2006, and I was with that company until when did I wrap up with them? 2021, I think. So 2022, it was 16 years. Facebook didn't even exist back in 2000, right? It's 2006, right? So building a business looked very different. It was all about the home parties. It was the only option, or catalog parties. Coffee catch-ups, phone calls, events, going to markets, all those sorts of things, right? And then Facebook came along and I joined around 2009. Share with me down below, depending on, I know some of you will be watching this on Facebook, some of you will be watching this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and some of you will be listening to this on my Spotify channel on Spotify. I'd actually love to know, if you can pop it in the comments, what year did you join Facebook? I'd be really curious to know. I'm always curious about one. Anyway, like everyone else, I was just using it socially, right? Sharing family photos, holiday pictures, funny moments, keeping up with friends, and throwing up the occasional product post, right? Or, book a party with me post, or a, join my team post, that sort of stuff, right? I certainly wasn't thinking, I wonder what impression my Facebook profile gives someone. That wasn't even on my radar. And then something started happening, right? People would contact me about my business, or I'd meet someone somewhere, or someone would reply to a message I'd sent in Messenger. And eventually I realized before people replied, before they bought, before they even considered joining my team, they were doing something. Can you guess what it was? They were clicking on my Facebook profile. And I thought, hang on a second. If they're looking, maybe I should start looking too, right? As in, what is on there? What have I got on my profile, right? Because here's what we all do, right? And if you can comment, let me know. If you're nodding along to this one, I want you to tell me in the comments, right? Someone sends you a friend request. What do? You click on their profile. Someone leaves an interesting comment. You click on their profile. Someone messages you. What do? You click on their profile. A new follower appears. You click on their profile. We all do it, right? It's human nature. We're curious. Okay, I'm sure you guys have done it to me. For those of you who are following me along on Facebook, I'm sure you've done it to me. You've clicked on my profile to see what I'm all about, right? Yeah, what it also means is that people are doing exactly the same thing with you as well, right? Which brings me back to my question. If I landed on your profile today, what story would it tell? Would I know what you're passionate about? Would I get a sense of who you are? Would I know what you do and who you help? Would I see someone that I'd like to follow? Or would I be confused? Would I have no idea what you do or who you help or what you're into? One of the things I hear quite often is, but Penny, everybody already knows what I do. Really? Because Facebook isn't just showing your content to people who've known you for 20 years, especially if you're in professional mode, right? New people are discovering you every single day. Friends of friends, people from comments, people from groups you've posted in, people who stumble across your content, people who see someone else engage with one of your posts, even some maybe Facebook is actually suggesting you as a Facebook friend to people because they feel that you've got something in common with them, right? But they don't know you. So when they click on your so then, you go and you click on the profile, right? And they click on your profile because they're trying to answer one simple question. Who is this person? And I'm going to tell you something. You don't get very long to answer it, right? So let's imagine I am looking at your profile. The first thing I notice is your profile photo. Now, before anyone panics, I'm not saying that this has to be a professional, professionally photographed, right? Mine certainly wasn't when I first started. And to be honest, a lot of my profile pictures still aren't professional photos, but they are really good, clear selfies or photos that, friends and family have taken, right? Because what we're looking for is to be able to clearly see you, right? Can I clearly see you when I go to your profile? Can I see who you are? The real you, right? And this is actually something else, not the AI version of you, the real you, right? Or is it a flower or a quote, a picture of your dog, a holiday sunset, right? What is actually on your profile right now? What is your profile cover photo, your banner, and then your actual profile cover photo as well? Remember, but that, and why I'm pointing this out, and I'd let us know what you've got there at the moment, because you've got to remember that people connect with people, right? Not with landscapes, not with cartoons, not with the AI version of you, not inspirational quotes. They want to see you, right? Then my eyes naturally move to your cover photo, right? Does it tell me anything? Okay, and that's why the profile picture, and we've got your cover photo again. What I just asked you about, it is for both, right? When I look at your cover photo, does it tell me anything, right? Or is it simply filling the space? Or maybe you don't even have anything there at all. I still see some people on Facebook, who friend request me or come to join my free Facebook group, and they've got no Facebook picture, like profile picture, and they've got and it's a blank cover photo as well, like as in there is no photo, it's just blank, right? That doesn't tell me anything about you. Are you actually a real person, right? We need to know you're actually a real person, right? And again, I'm not talking about making it complicated. It doesn't have to be super fancy, right? I'm talking about asking, what impression am I creating? Okay, and then I'm going to scroll further, right? And this is where it gets really interesting. If I looked at your last 10 posts, what would I learn about you? Would I discover someone who's kind, funny, helpful, passionate? Would I feel like I knew you a little bit better? Would I feel like I have a bit more of an idea of who you are, right? Or would I just see 10 product posts in a row? Or would I even see that you haven't posted in weeks and I don't know if you're still on Facebook, right? Now, before anyone thinks, oh no, Penny's saying never post products. Not saying that, although on your profile, you do have to be careful about selling. Okay, we want to do more about sort of creating curiosity when you're posting on your profile. And it's absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't post your products, right? You know, you do, of course, you need to talk about your products, right? Because that is how people get to know, as part of how people get to know who you are and what you do and who you help, right? But get creative with what you're doing, right? But if that's all I learn about you, I'm probably not connecting with you. As in, if you just literally throw up pictures of your products, right? Because I don't actually get to know anything about you, right? And you know, many of you would have heard about purple cow being a purple cow in a field of dairy cows. Again, I feel like I've been talking about this a lot lately, but it really is so important. And I did do a podcast a few months back about being a purple cow in a field of dairy cow, right? Because when you just put up images of products, right? Remember, there are hundreds, thousands of other people who are basically showing exactly the same images. You're not going to stand out from the crowd, right? And you know, and if that's all that's going up, I'm unlikely to be connecting with you, right? Because people don't build relationships with products, right? They build relationships with people. One of my favorite questions to ask women is this, right? If I hid every product post on your profile, would people still know who you are and what you do? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Right? Because your personal brand isn't built by your products. It's built by your personality. Purple cow in a field of dairy cows, right? Your values, your stories, your life, the way you make people feel. And that's what people remember, right? And then I probably keep scrolling. Am I seeing consistency? Or does it look like you disappeared for 3 weeks, posted 5 products in one day, and then disappeared again, right? Like I said earlier. Okay. And consistency builds trust. Okay. It tells people I'm here. I'm showing up. I'm someone you can rely on. I'm someone you can trust, right? Trust is what grows businesses. Here's another thing I'd notice. Do your posts actually sound like you, right? Or do they sound like everyone else? Because I can usually tell. I've been doing this a really long time now. I've been coaching women from dozens of different direct selling companies, hundreds of women for the last 5.5 years, right? And I can usually tell. I see so many women copying posts word for word from someone else or straight from ChatGPT. I mean, we all love ChatGPT these days, but there is a right way and a wrong way, okay, to use it. The problem is if everyone sounds the same, nobody stands out, right? Your voice matters. Your stories matter. Your experiences matter. You need to share these things, right? Nobody else has lived your life, and that's your advantage, right? Will you be everyone's cup of tea? No, but neither is everyone else out there your cup of tea. And something really important to remember, right? Something else I've learned after coaching hundreds of women from loads of different direct selling and network marketing companies, most of them don't have a content problem. They have a clarity problem, right? They know they need to post, they just don't know what to post. So they default to the easiest thing. And this might be you because you're not sure what you should be posting, right? And so you default to the easiest thing, another product, another special offer, another catalog link, because it feels safe, right? But safe doesn't always build connection. Then imagine I clicked on your about section. You know that little about section, the little bio bit on your Facebook profile? Could I quickly work out what you do from that? Or is it a mystery? Right. And I will say again, I click on when I have women asked to join my free Facebook group. I go and check your profile and I have a look. Are you actually with a direct selling company? Can I see what you do? Right. Are you the right fit? Because you know, I get requests to join my my free Facebook group from loads and loads and loads of different people, and some of them they've got absolutely nothing to do with direct selling, network marketing, multi-level marketing, or a small business where they're trying to learn how to use Facebook to grow your business, right? And in all honesty, I don't just let everybody in. If you don't, you know, sort of fit into that category, you're not coming in. But how do I work out whether you are or not? I go look at your profile. Okay. Did you know I looked at your profile? Are you in my free Facebook group? If you're not, let me know. Now, as I was saying, is it a mystery, right? Let me get back on track. A little bit of a tangent there for you. But again, I'm not saying you need a complicated bio, right? I want things to be simple and easy for you to do, right? And to make these changes. But just clarity, right? We need clarity because people who are confused people, they rarely take action. Okay, if people don't understand something, they're not going to do it, right? And here is like sort of the interesting part of everything that I've been talking about so far in this episode. None of these things on their own may seem huge, right? And you might be kind of thinking, oh yeah, but what does that matter? And what does that matter? And what does that matter, right? But together, when we put all of these things together, they create an impression, right? For good or bad, they create an impression, okay? If you think about walking to someone's home, you notice little things, the welcome at the door, the smell, the music, the conversation. Individually, none of them seem like a big deal, but together they shape how you feel, right? And your Facebook profile is exactly the same. It's not one thing, it's the overall experience, right? And it's something I see a lot with new women joining my Beehive membership program for women in direct selling and network marketing. It's a new, for the new ones coming in who sort of come in and never done any, really never done any Facebook training before. They do think they join in because they think they need help with content, right? And yes, absolutely, we work on the content, right? What exactly should you be posting? What type of content should you be posting? Where do you post it? What do you do it? How often do you do it? All of that, and I do step by step. I got asked that recently, actually. Are you just going to tell me to post XYZ? I can't do that. I need to know how to do it. I'm like, absolutely. Inside my Beehive program, I absolutely walk you step by step how to do the things that I'm telling you to do that's going to help you to grow your business, right? We work on content. We work out the different ways to do content, plan content, all those sorts of things, right? But often before we even get there, and this is actually any of my new program members, I actually tell them this is the first thing they need to do. This is the first training that they need to watch, which is included free inside my program. Is the one that is all about your Facebook funnel. My goodness, I can't spit the words out today. Facebook funnel and profile mode. I seriously can't. I need a sip of water. I obviously needed an extra coffee today. Hang on a second, guys. So what we do when they join is we look at their profile together, right? What changes need to be made, right? That's when often that light bulb comes on and they suddenly realize that their profile isn't supporting all the effort that they've already been doing, right? And it's not necessarily because it's bad, although every now and then I see one that, as I said earlier, there's no picture, there's no information, right? And it's not necessarily it's bad, it's just not great, right? And it's not because they've necessarily done anything wrong. It's just that they didn't know any better, right? And you might be sitting here and going, I'd never thought of this. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any better, right? And it's simply because nobody's ever shown them how to make it work strategically for their business. And you're quite potentially in this same boat, right? I know this podcast goes out to so many different women, and I know my Beehive program members listen to this as well. And, you've got to know how to make all aspects of Facebook work strategically for your business, right? And that's exactly actually what I talked about in last week's episode, isn't it? Right? About how most women know how to use Facebook socially, but very few have ever been taught how to use Facebook strategically, right? And this is just another example of that. Now, if you haven't yet watched or listened to last week's podcast episode, you definitely want to go back and have a listen to that one. You'll find it on YouTube. You'll find it on my YouTube channel. Just scroll back on my Spotify and also on Facebook. If you can't find it, just tell me you want to. Send me a message. And your Facebook profile it isn't just somewhere people land, right? It's often the first impression that people get, right? And first impressions matter. We know that first impressions matter, right? So I have a little challenge for you this week. This is a little bit of homework for you all after watching / listening to this. So when you have finished listening, I want you to go and do something. I want you to open your Facebook profile and pretend you've never met yourself before, right? Pretend you've never met yourself before. Look at it through the eyes, look at your profile, what you've got on your profile through the eyes of a complete stranger, right? Ask yourself these questions. Would I follow me? Would I trust me? Would I feel like I knew this person? Would I know what I do and who I help? I've run out of fingers. Would I want to know more, right? For those of you who could see. And if the answer is not really, don't feel discouraged. Feel excited, because that is something you can change little by little, one improvement at a time, right? And this is exactly why I love teaching Facebook strategies, right? To women in direct selling network marketing. And, I know I've got a few small business women as well who had their own independent little businesses following along with me too. And I've had them in my Beehive program before. And I like to teach these Facebook strategies because I don't, it's not that I want you spending more hours online. Absolutely not, right? But because I know how powerful the right strategies can be. Okay, when you've got the right Facebook strategies in place, you're doing them consistently, it makes a difference. You make more sales, you attract more people, you get bookings if that's what you're offering, you get team members if that's what you're offering, right? All of the things work when you know what the right Facebook strategies are and you put them all into action consistently, you get the results. Just like so many of my women that have come into my program who end up doubling and even tripling their sales, going up the leadership ladders and earning incentives and all those sorts of things, right? And I want you to know that your profile should be working for you, not against you, right? You want to be setting it up, and think about what, do this homework that I've set you. You want to be setting it up for success. You want to be setting it up so it's attracting people to you, attracting the right people to you, okay? So really want you to have a look at your Facebook profile and see what does it say about you. What is it telling other people about you? Now, if you want a step-by-step guide on how to set up your profile for more success, you should definitely check out my webinar, Facebook Funnel 2.6 Plus Pro Mode. It's the one I mentioned earlier. It is the first step when someone comes into my Beehive membership program. It's included in my program, but I have actually made it publicly available for you to purchase if you want to, okay? Drop pro in the comments or DM me or have a look for the link in the comments. You can go check it out. It's only 19 Australian dollars and it will absolutely help you to make the changes. And because I do often get asked, how do I do it? I need the step-by-step. This webinar, Facebook Funnel 2.6 Plus Pro Mode, absolutely step-by-step. Okay, how to do it. Now, let me know too if you have found this helpful. And of course, if you have, I would love for you to share this link with our business friend that will find this helpful too. I hope you have an amazing week and I will see you next time. Bye for now. See you on Facebook. Will I see you on Facebook? Let me know. Bye.